so we're back again with another Chasing Guitar Tone episode, where basically I break down, kind of, some isolated tracks that I like. And before I go further, just let me put a quick note there, because I saw the last time I did this, there's a lot of people that said, you should see Rick Beato's channel. Yes, Rick Beato. If you haven't seen his channel, he does something similar-ish, but totally different, because one, he's way smarter than I am, a better producer, better musician, he's incredible. He breaks things down at a whole nother level. If you like the whole technical side and you want to see like how to play each individual part, Rick's channel is fantastic. But what I'm going to try to do is kind of try to chase that sort of tone that's on the album. So this particular album is off the No More Tears album from Ozzy Osbourne. The song is called Mama, I'm Coming Home. Zakk's using using his Les Paul. This is the only Les Paul I have. Different pickups completely. He's using I think it's a Boss SD1. I think it was before he had his MXL pedal out. He's using the SD1 to goose, to really hit the front end really hard of a JCM 800. Now, I don't have a Marshall JCM 800, but I have something pretty close. So basically, a friend of mine, you probably know, named Dave Friedman. Dave knows a lot of very popular, very good guitarists, Zakk Wylde being one of them. So let me show you the amp. So basically, this guy here, that was built by Dave. And I can't say exactly what the reason was, confidentiality agreements, but basically let's say that amp is really similar to the one that they used on No More Tears, that type of Marshall. That one's hand built by Dave, and got it on a loan. Dave, I know I need to get it back to you, so but I love it. Anyway, so going through that, got a Marshall cab down there, but I'm not miking because, of course, I don't have all the different mics they used. So what I am going to use is impulse responses from Ownhammer, going through the captor, which is over there, going through the captor into my DAW using Ownhammer and Celestion impulse responses. I believe Zakk used, it's either vintage 30s or greenbacks. I forget now which one it was on the recording. It's a very bright tone. So enough yakking. Let's dive down into some of the isolated tracks and see what we find. All right, so what I have here is loaded up the isolated track. Even though it is isolated tracks, the guitar, for example, is pretty much summed between two different tracks. One is the guitar right here, and then you'll see song 5 right here, and there's little bits and pieces that are guitar and some keys. Oddly enough, I never realized there was keys in this, but there is. Then you have the vocal. Effects are already applied to it, so they're not true stems, but they're fairly isolated. Let's start out by taking a look at the bass line. So it's a fretless. I never knew that. You used a fretless bass on this song. That's pretty cool. That part you just heard was basically this. Cool. Never really noticed that much. When you listen to the isolated guitar, a very rich acoustic sound. I think there's left and right. Yeah, so there's both left and right guitars. Zakk is freaking tight on this, so it sounds really close, but it is two different guitars. Then we move it on just a little bit. pretty standard stuff, right? Let's, something I noticed in this at the beginning of it, the very beginning of the song, check it out. Little key part going on. So, in that right there, that goes into the next part where it's building up little by little. So right there, you hear Zakk building it up. So very cool part there where he's actually harmonizing the basically the outline of an E chord to an A chord to an E chord. So pretty cool kind of deal there. All right, so we have the next part, which is basically where everything kicks in and you get to hear the massive JSIM 800 stereo. It's magic. So here we go. Check out the guitar here. That part right there where he hit the fourth, I think it was the fourth there on it would be the third. On that B chord. That's awesome. It works so well with the open E after that. Show you what I mean. That's just massive sounding. Then we get a little bit down the line. And then, of course, we go right into the acoustic-y part. So it's... And then we got to build it up for the fantastic solo. Oh, before I go on, one slight correction. I was doing some Googling for a minute because I was confused on what speaker Zakk actually used. And I'm seeing two conflicting things. One says like vintage 30s, and the other one says EVs. So I'm not sure which exact speakers he used on this album. Still sounds fantastic though. But anyways, we're getting ready to do the solo. Zakk does a lot of chicken picking-y type of stuff, which normally you wouldn't associate that with you know, more of a metal type of thing, especially an old school metal. But he makes it work so well that it's just the chops he has, even for as simple of a solo as it is, it just sounds so good and it works so great within the context of the song. Let's listen to it. Before we go any further, one real quick thing. There's a lot of room reverb on it. Stereo room reverb. Now, I'll try to recreate it with the reverb pedal, but really the best way I found to actually do it is to use like an impulse response of an actual stereo room twice with one left speaker and right speaker. That sounds a little more realistic in the stereo field of the actual guitar than just like a reverb pedal. But your mileage may vary. Sounds more like actual room to me. Actual room miking. little thing there that I noticed. There's like a little bit of static. I don't know if it's where he's turning down his volume pot and it's a little staticky or something, but kind of a cool little tidbit I never noticed. It's right here. Hear that in the left speaker? All right, so that's the basic rhythm of the entire song. Let's check out a little bit past this where we get to the end, because now we're just going through verses and choruses again. All right, so we're at the tail end of it, right where everything's, you know, climaxing to this luscious peak and to the final outro of the song. So let's listen to, here's where we're at, basically. Okay, so you know where we are. First of all, something pretty cool here before we talk about guitar stuff is the vocals. I'm coming home. I'm coming home. I'm coming home. So just crazy awesome. Let's dump the vocals and the two guitars. So what we're gonna have, you're gonna have like the solo guitar part and then the rhythm guitar. Pretty cool stuff, right? So now let's see if I can actually somewhat approximate this. So there's two ways we can, you know, go back and try to use the amp, which we will do, and then we'll try to do it with a pedal and a clean amp. So obviously, I'm not Zakk Wylde. I don't have the facial hair for it, and I don't really have the muscle tone for it as well. But anyways, we'll give it a try on the amp, and we'll also try with the pedal and see what it sounds like. All right, let's do it. All right, so here's how I have it set. So the pre is all the way up, master is cranking. 100 watt amp, this thing is loud, and I even have it on the captor. I'm dropping it down 20 dB, and it's still loud. Treble's cranked, presence is cranked, bass mids around noon, a little less or so. To me, that's just as close as I could get it by setting the amp that way. I am going to be running the super overdrive as well. Turn that drive down, turn the level up just a bit, give it a nice little tightness, a little more gain to the amp. So, this is the Les Paul. Of course, these are not EMGs, so the pickups are different. So, you know, I don't know. I don't have any guitar with EMG, so that's what's going to have to do. So we'll give it a try. All right, so I have the Freeman amp on, cranked up. You probably hear the hiss in the background. Without the SD1, this is basically the sound I got. By the way, I'm running 3 IRs. One's a 412 own hammer mic right in front of it. 57 is the mic. And I've got a back mic and then a little bit of a room mic. So without the SD1, keep in mind it's going to be a little hissy. Now, let's turn on the SD1. SD1 is now on. It's really hissy because you're hitting a bunch of gain with a bunch of gain. And here we go. Pretty cool. Very big sounding now. Let me, let's do this. I'm going to try to track the song. I'll double track it and see what you guys think. All right, so I've got it doubled. Of course, we're tuned down and drop. We're in E flat basically, so or D sharp, however you prefer to refer it to. And everything's double tracked. As you can see on the screen here, I have moved. I've added a room sim IR, which is going to simulate that room sound as I explained earlier. And let's listen to this little bit here. Let's see what it does. As you can see, that's still the acoustic part that Zakk did because I didn't play acoustic on it. But let's skip ahead to the solo. The rhythm guitar is still Zakk. I didn't do the rhythm guitar, I just did the solo. The bend, that second bend is really hard to get it precise, like because it's a dual track, right? So it's really hard to get the bend exactly like you did the last time, unless you're a much better player than me or you play in the studio a lot. So here's what it sounds like. So you're probably wondering what that sounds like when it's isolated. That's a fair question to ask. Let's take a look at it. Not the whole thing, just parts of it. All right, the rhythm part specifically. So let's actually first let's listen to what Zakk does. So that's massive. It's obviously has some compression or some limiting on it. Probably multi-band compression, so it sounds great. It's a super great guitar tone. All right, well, here's what I did with the Friedman amp. and now it's time to go on to, let's try to recreate this with the pedal and a clean amp. All right, let's do it. Okay, for this, I'm gonna go through the super overdrive. I think drive down, level up a little bit into the superplex. I'm gonna crank up the treble quite a bit actually. I'm gonna go to the bravado with the bright switch up, pretty good. So I'm trying to get that brightness. Having a hard time, like even with the amp, really getting the brightness and the presence that Zakk has on that. And I don't know if it's, you know, a product of the mastering and adding some compression and some higher and some frequencies and some expansion and that sort of thing. Could be, don't know, not a producer. So just a lowly guitar player trying to figure out how to make do with what I got. So let's try to recreate it with the pedal. All right, so this is just the superplex. Then let's put a little SD1 in front of it. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and multi-track everything and we'll take a listen to that. Okay, so I have double tracked all the pedal stuff. I'll let you hear what it sounds like. Here's double track pedal using the plex distortion, SD1 in front of it. Now, something to note is I think Zakk actually used like a Boss, well, he had a Boss super chorus in his rig, but I don't know if they used that chorus pedal whenever they tracked it or whether they used plug-in. So I've got a little plug-in we've got plug-ins in case you didn't know. We kind of use those internally. But anyways, I got a plug-in that I'm going to add to just a little bit so we can kind of compare just for the fun of it. Let's hear it in context. Everything except for the vocals, of course. And now let's head to the solo. There you go. Hopefully it was enlightening to you. Maybe it was just interesting or entertaining. I don't know. So I myself, I have a lot of fun trying to figure out, like listen to isolated tracks, trying to figure out how did they get that sound and how do I get that sound myself with what I have to work with. The Superplex, not absolutely necessary. There's probably a number of different pedals that will do just as great of a job. So, you know, I wouldn't go out and spend, you know, $800 on the used market or whatever it is for a pedal that doesn't exist anymore. There you go. That's my thoughts. Hope you liked the video. Please make sure you comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you like these videos, if you like this sort of thing, if you have any suggestions regarding moving forward and other types of videos, I'd love to hear them. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe if you're not subscribed and click the notification bell to get notifications if you like them. Make sure you share it to friends, and see you next week in a new video. Thanks for watching.